Transform your life in ways you might never have imagined. It's about taking risks and stepping outside of your comfort zone. I want you to think about your comfort zone for a moment. It's a safe place, isn't it? It's where you feel secure, where things are familiar, predictable, and easy. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. We all need a place where we can relax and recharge, a place where we can be at ease. But here's the thing. Your comfort zone, while it may feel safe, can also be a trap. It can become a prison, a barrier that keeps you from reaching your true potential. Let me tell you a story. It's about a young man I met many years ago. He was talented, intelligent, and had a lot of potential. But he was stuck. He had a good job, a nice home, and a comfortable life. But he felt unfulfilled. He knew deep down that he was capable of more, that there was something bigger out there for him. But every time he thought about making a change, about taking a risk, he hesitated. The fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, kept him in his comfort zone. He would tell himself, maybe next year, or I'll wait until the timing is right. But you know what happened? The years went by, and he never took that step. He stayed where he was, comfortable, but unfulfilled. And that, my friends, is the danger of the comfort zone. It lulls us into complacency. It convinces us that it's better to stay where we are, even if we're not happy, than to take a risk and venture into the unknown. But I'm here to tell you that the only way to truly grow, to truly succeed, is to take that risk, to step outside of your comfort zone. You might say, Jim, it's easy for you to say. You've been successful. You've made it. But let me tell you something. I've been where you are. I faced those same fears, that same hesitation. I've had to take risks, to step into the unknown, and it wasn't always easy. But every time I did, it paid off in ways I couldn't have imagined. Life is full of risks. There's no avoiding it. Every decision we make, every action we take, involves some level of risk. But the key is not to avoid risks, but to embrace them. To understand that without risk, there can be no reward. Without stepping outside of your comfort zone, you'll never discover what you're truly capable of. I remember when I first started out in business. I was young, inexperienced, and frankly, I was scared. I didn't know if I would succeed. I didn't know if I had what it takes. But I had a choice to make. I could stay where I was, in my safe, comfortable job, or I could take a risk and step out into the unknown. And you know what? I took that risk. I stepped out of my comfort zone. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Was it easy? No. Were there times when I doubted myself? Absolutely. But looking back, I realized that every success I've had in my life has come as a result of taking that risk, of stepping outside of my comfort zone. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. I want you to take a good, hard look at your life and ask yourself, where am I playing it safe? Where am I staying in my comfort zone? Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's in your relationships. Maybe it's in your personal growth. Whatever it is, I want you to identify those areas where you've been holding back, where you've been afraid to take that step. And I want you to make a decision today to step out of your comfort zone. I'm not saying you should be reckless. I'm not saying you should throw caution to the wind and take unnecessary risks. But what I am saying is that you need to challenge yourself. You need to push yourself to do things that make you uncomfortable, that stretch you, that force you to grow. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where you discover what you're truly capable of. And fear. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people stay in their comfort zones. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown. These are powerful emotions that can paralyze us, that can keep us from taking that step. But here's the thing about fear. It's a natural part of life. We all feel it. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they handle that fear. Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Now think about that for a moment. Mandela, a man who faced immense challenges and uncertainties, understood that courage isn't about not feeling fear. It's about feeling that fear, acknowledging it, and moving forward anyway. It's about not letting fear control you, not letting it stop you from taking that step. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. Feel the fear. Recognize it for what it is. But take the step anyway. Because it's on the other side of that fear that you'll find the growth, the success, and the fulfillment you're seeking. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you weren't afraid? If fear wasn't holding you back? What would you be doing right now? What risks would you take? What steps would you take toward your goals? I want you to think about that. And then I want you to ask yourself, what's really stopping me? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of what others might think? The fear of the unknown? Whatever it is, I want you to challenge that fear. I want you to face it head on, and I want you to take that step. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in my life is that failure is not the end of the world. In fact, failure is often the beginning of something great. It's through our failures that we learn, that we grow, that we become stronger. So don't be afraid of failure. Embrace it. Learn from it. Use it as a stepping stone to success. Because the truth is, the only real failure is not trying at all. The only way to truly fail is to stay in your comfort zone. To never take that risk, to never step out into the unknown. I want to share another story with you. It's about a man named Colonel Harlan Sanders. You might know him as the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. But what you might not know is that Colonel Sanders didn't achieve success until he was in his 60s. He had tried and failed at numerous ventures throughout his life. He had faced rejection after rejection, but he didn't give up. He didn't let failure define him. Instead, he kept pushing forward. He kept taking risks. And eventually, his persistence paid off. He stepped out of his comfort zone. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, what's the lesson here? It's never too late to take a risk, to step out of your comfort zone, and to pursue your dreams. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many times you've failed, or how uncertain the future may seem. What matters is that you take that step, that you embrace the unknown, and that you keep moving forward. Now, I know that stepping outside of your comfort zone can be scary. It can be uncomfortable. But that's the point. Growth and comfort do not coexist. If you want to grow, If you want to succeed, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to take that step into the unknown, to face your fears, and to embrace the challenges that come your way. And here's the good news. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more you push yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, the more comfortable you become with discomfort. You start to realize that fear is just a feeling, that it doesn't have to control you. You start to see that the risks you take, the challenges you face, are opportunities for growth, for learning, for success. So my challenge to you today is this. Take that step. Whatever it is that you've been holding back on, whatever it is that you've been afraid to do it. Take that risk. Step outside of your comfort zone, because that's where you'll find growth. That's where you'll find success. And that's where you'll find the fulfillment that comes from living a life of purpose, a life of meaning, a life that is truly worth living. One of the things I often tell people is that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is your one shot. And the last thing you want is to look back on your life with regret, wishing you had taken that chance, wishing you had stepped out of your comfort zone. Don't let that be your story. Make the decision today to take that step, to embrace the unknown, and to live your life to the fullest. The greatest risk in life is not taking any risks at all. The greatest danger is not stepping out of your comfort zone, but staying where you are, in a place of safety, but also of stagnation. Don't let that be your story. Take the risk. Step out of your comfort zone, and watch how your life begins to change in ways you never thought possible.